Okay, I now want to shift to the Miami Dolphins. I've been saying for about the past 3 months that the Miami Dolphins should seriously consider moving on from Tua Tagovailoa. Look, I've been critical of Tua Tagovailoa. I was critical of Tua at Alabama. I've been critical of Tua as a Miami Dolphin and as a starting quarterback in the NFL. You know, in college, I wasn't the biggest fan of Tua. I felt that Tua could develop one day into being a potential franchise quarterback, but he was often very injury prone in college. He got injured a lot. He missed a ton of games. And he did not perform very well versus NFL caliber defenses in college, despite having A+ wide receivers, A+ running backs, A+ coaching staff, A+ offensive line. I thought he had an average arm and average mobility, and that's translated to the NFL. His arm has not gotten significantly stronger, and he's not gotten significantly more mobile, okay? And I felt that Tua could become a decent starter one day. I even at one point said Justin Herbert was going to be better than Tua coming out of college. And I was a big critic of Justin Herbert at Oregon, as you guys know, okay? The bottom line is I'm lower on Tua than most people. Now, that doesn't mean Tua can't go out there and win you football games. That doesn't mean Tua doesn't have some good traits that I like. However, I believe the Miami Dolphins should draft a quarterback. Ideally, Justin Fields, if he's on the board, because I do believe Justin Fields is ready to play right away. Or potentially, if they want to take a risk, I'd go with Trey Lance, even though Trey Lance is not quite ready to play right away. But I think that the Miami Dolphins coaching staff can really iron some things out. Maybe they keep Tua on the roster to battle with a guy like Trey Lance, or they could maybe trade for a guy like Gardner Minshew to come in and sort of mentor Trey Lance, and then they could move on. Because I think Gardner Minshew is a franchise quarterback. I just think that he's been screwed over by the Jaguars, okay? And look, the Miami Dolphins will have an opportunity to get someone like Justin Fields or Trey Lance, because here's the thing. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they're going to draft Trevor Lawrence. By all accounts, most people believe that. Most people believe the New York Jets are going to draft Zach Wilson. Most people believe the San Francisco 49ers are going to draft either Mac Jones or Trey Lance. My money is on them drafting Mac Jones. The Falcons, they could take a quarterback, but all reports point to them passing on a quarterback to stick with Matt Ryan for another year or two. And the Bengals, they're sold on Joe Burrow. So you can get a franchise quarterback in this draft at number 6 overall. And here's why I believe the Miami Dolphins should draft a quarterback. Okay, here's my biggest reasons why. First of all, this is a great quarterback draft, especially at the top, okay? And if Tua Tagovailoa were entering this draft, you can make the argument he'd be the 6th quarterback taken off the board. That's how talented this quarterback draft class is. And let's say, for example, someone like Justin Fields is there on the board for you. Okay, and you pass up on him. And then the New England Patriots get their hands on him. Or potentially Trey Lance. See, what you have to understand is sometimes maybe you need to draft a player so the other teams out there can't possibly get their hands on them. You know, the Dallas Cowboys, they drafted CeeDee Lamb because he's a very good player, but also because they knew the Philadelphia Eagles wanted him, okay? Sometimes that tactic, you know, you need to apply it every now and then, okay? But the quarterback position is very important, so the bottom line for me is Justin Fields is just a better overall prospect than Tua Tagovailoa. Same with Trey Lance. Both, to me, are just as accurate of quarterbacks. Both can read the field very well. Both process information very quickly. Both don't throw interceptions. Both are much more dynamic athletes and are more mobile in the pocket than Tua Tagovailoa. And both have more explosive arms, okay? They're better overall prospects. They're more talented quarterbacks than Tua. And let's say the Miami Dolphins pass on, you know, someone like Justin Fields at number 6 overall, and then a team in their division trades up for them. The New England Patriots. What if the Patriots trade up for Justin Fields? Boy, oh boy, you better hope Tua hits, because I have a strong belief that if Belichick drafts Justin Fields or Trey Lance, they're going to be one of the next great quarterbacks, okay? And for the next 3 years from now, and you could potentially look back 3 years from now, if Tua's not performing well and Justin Fields is lighting it up, I think Miami should regret that decision. And by the way, you also passed on Justin Herbert in last year's draft. And honestly, I was one of those people that didn't quite see this spectacular of a performance coming from Justin Herbert. I will admit that. But you got to start owning up to your mistakes. And listen, Tua, you got to realize what he is. He's a game-managing quarterback with an average arm. He's just way too safe. He doesn't push the football down the field consistently. He's not a risk taker. He's naturally a safe quarterback with not a big time arm, not very super mobile either, okay? And we saw sort of the game managing quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo with a loaded roster not be able to win a Super Bowl. Jared Goff was on a loaded Los Angeles Rams team. He couldn't win a Super Bowl. And both Jimmy G and Jared Goff today are better quarterbacks than Tua Tagovailoa. They're proven. Tua hasn't proven much at all, other than he can win some games, at the NFL level if given a good supporting cast around him. But Mr. Trubisky won games with Chicago. Mr. Trubisky, for his career, has an above 500 record with Chicago. Tim Tebow at one point went on a nice little winning streak, okay? And people are going to say, well, last year Tua was 6-3 as a starter. Tua Tagovailoa last year beat one playoff team. And in that game in which he beat the playoff team, that team being the Rams, he threw for 93 yards and completed 54% of his throws. Folks, Tua is not a game-changing franchise quarterback. And in a division with Bill Belichick and the Patriots roster, Brian Flores, this is the coach, Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills, and potentially the New York Jets being on the rise with a star quarterback, I believe the Miami Dolphins should move on from Tua Tagovailoa. It's that simple to me. I'm not a huge believer in what Tua brings to the table, and I believe the Miami Dolphins should consider moving on from Tua for all the reasons that I mentioned. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juiciest Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big-time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juiciest Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.